Welcome to Order in the Chapel, the podcast where we take the chaos of wedding planning and turn it into a well-ordered affair. I'm your host, Cece Lima, a wedding industry vet and luxury venue manager, here to guide you through every decision, detail, and dilemma. I've seen it all, from the black tie-only ballrooms to the must-have biscuit bars, and I don't let chaos take the stand. At my venue, order always wins.
And I'm your co-host, Colby Sandoval, a seasoned wedding planner and design expert. I fight for beauty, logic, and a flawless timeline. I don't just plan weddings, I win them.
So whether you're a bride, part of the family, or deep in the vendor trenches, we're bringing you the structure, the solutions, and...
let's be honest, the sass you need for a smooth wedding planning experience.
So court is in session. Grab your binder.
Honey, pour you a glass of wine.
And let's take notes, because when
you
you
know,
know, you
you
know. Hey guys, today we are talking about outdoor ceremonies and weather plans. Our show is called Sunshine and Side-Eye, how to plan for the wedding you want and the weather you didn't ask for. So, Colby, let me ask you, because you know, why are so many brides fascinated with having an outdoor ceremony in their wedding?
I think a lot of that stems from Pinterest. When you are starting to plan your wedding and you get in that field of like, oh my gosh, I want to look at every aspect of a wedding, from ceremony to cake, floral decor, all of that. A lot of things for ceremony that are popping up on Pinterest are outdoor ceremonies. But there's a huge difference between what's on Pinterest and what is actually going on, in your area and with the weather. So yes, outdoor ceremonies have a magical feel, but sometimes it's just not realistic to get married outside because of weather and the time of year that you're getting married at. It's like, no offense, but nobody wants to sit through your wedding in January when it's like 10 degrees outside. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's also like here in West Texas, no one wants to sit outside in your wedding in the middle of June when it's 105. Like, nobody wants to sweat. So it's like, if you want an outdoor ceremony, kind of plan appropriate to when the weather is cooler, when it's not so hot and it's not so cold.
So what months would you say those are more likely for? Okay, we live in Lubbock. This is Lubbock, Texas area.
Lubbock,
we are
Texas.
The windy, dirt.
Windy city.
Yes.
I mean, it's not only that. Like, I always tell brides, Mother Nature doesn't like us because we can never control the weather. Like, it can say it's going to be 100 degrees today, and literally 3 hours later it's a tornado thunderstorm, and then an hour later it's sunshines and rainbows. And I'm like, the weather in our area is so unpredictable, and that's probably the one thing that really stresses me out is when brides want to have an outdoor ceremony, because it's like, okay, we're going to have an outdoor ceremony, but we also have to plan for plan B in case the weather doesn't permit the wedding to be outside, if it's way too hot, if it's raining, if it's hailing.
And that's where the choosing the right venue is important, because you want to choose a venue that has a backup plan in case you do have to do an indoor ceremony. So,
and it's like, for me, I think it's a lot easier. Like, we did a wedding last weekend. The wind wasn't really blowing as hard as it looked, but we did all of this draping for the ceremony. And the draping was whipping around. It would have looked a hot mess. So we literally had to get chairs and hold it was probably 50 feet of draping down because it was just whipping around. And was that ideal? No. Did it look really beautiful? Yes. And was it her Pinterest board? Absolutely. But it's just like, you always have to have a game plan for outside for every single aspect. And
you just use chairs to put those down, right?
Yeah, so we used chairs
from behind so they couldn't see it. But those little like beanbag things, having some of those would be a good idea.
And it's also hard because a lot of our brides, and I do it as a planner too, I like to repurpose table floral for aisle markers. It was probably 101 degrees at this wedding, and the floral was fried by the time that we brought it in. So it kind of looked wilted, and I was kind of annoyed because I want everything to look good, right, for the bride. But, we repurposed, and that's just risks that you take with having an outdoor ceremony. And if it was my way, I would love every wedding to be inside because I can control every single aspect. And it's like Madewell Estates. I love having weddings there because they have the huge windows, and it's like you feel like
you have the natural light element.
You get that element, but you're inside. And it's like, if you really want to have your wedding outside. Like, let me bring those outside elements to you.
How are you going to do that, Colby?
I mean, if you want the wind, my girls, we will have leaf blowers in the back, whipping it around. It's just like, you know, we're starting the wedding and it's like, cue the music, send people down, leaf blowers going, all the things, send more people down, you know,
Hair's all in your
hair's
face.
kind of whipping around. And then it's like, you know, cue the birds. You know, and then I'm sending you down the aisle and it's like girls are moving, wind is going, birds are going, you're walking down.
Now you have your outdoor
and it's
wedding
just like,
inside.
Let me bring that to you because I can control all of that versus like
weather's so unpredictable.
Yeah. So it's like, let me tell you, if you are a bride out there and you want an outdoor ceremony, I will bring the outdoors to you. Okay? Don't you worry. Wind, bird, I mean, I can do the bee sound for you. Bzz. I mean, I have it covered. So that's just my hot take on.
Have you ever had a wedding that was like such a disaster because of weather?
Yes. And I will never forget. And my girls were such troopers for this wedding. We did a wedding. There's 2 instances that I can think of. And one of them more so cracks me up than the other. But like this disaster, and I wouldn't even call it a disaster because it like we made it work. But I was probably so high strung that day because of weather. So it was outdoor ceremony and outdoor reception. It was at this beautiful venue in Austin. Literally leading up to it, it was supposed to be 85, 90 was like the highest. Literally the day before, it was like said it was supposed to rain in the morning and then it was supposed to be done. And I was like, that's fine. The dance floor can get laid. We can wait to put the tables and the chairs and all the things. And I mean, we can wait. Like we had time. It was a very small, intimate ceremony. There was probably about 80 people that were attending the wedding. So like that is, I could do that with my eyes closed and a hand tied behind my back kind of wedding. So we kind of pushed some things out. We were building floral, you know, trying to get ceremony together. And then it just starts downpouring rain. And we did the same thing. We did drapes outside covering and we had all this floral and mirrors and, you know, and it was like, oh my gosh, it's literally pouring. And like, I mean, it wasn't a sprinkle. It was like a rain. So it was beating the floral down. So we had to like cut it off and like we're soaking wet. And then it stops raining. And I was like, okay, great, we're done. It rained for 30 minutes. It's over. Moving on. Pull everything out. So we pull the chairs out, pull the tables. We have the candles, all the floral, all the things. I kid you not. We literally get done setting up ceremony and reception. And it starts downpouring again.
No.
And this is literally 4 hours before ceremony. And my panic starts to set in because I'm like, here's all these wet linens. Here's all these wet chairs. The floral is beat. I mean, everything's just drenched. And the girls are like, what do we do? And I said, I mean, there's nothing we can do. At this point, everything is wet. It's going to be fine. It's going to be what it's going to be. And an hour and a half before ceremony, the sun came out. It started shining. It was really humid, but the sun kind of dried all of the linens. The floral was fine.
Yeah, because that's that's a common after symptom of weather is your humidity that's going to be, even if it's not raining, it's sticky, it's gross.
Sticky, it's hot, and it's like we had to
guests are uncomfortable.
The desserts and stuff inside because the cake would have just melted and the food, you know, it was buffet. We had to move that inside. It was like we made it work to the best of our abilities, but that is like from that experience on, I was like, oh my gosh, we will never do an outside wedding again because it's just the weather is so unpredictable. And I also want to talk about this other wedding because this is near and dear to my heart and it cracks me up even to this day when we talk about it. So Alexa is one of the girls on my team and she has probably been with me for 5 years now. And we did her wedding out at this venue in Leveland all day. It was 80 degrees, perfect weather. It was, I couldn't have asked for a better wedding day for her. And being one of my girls and one of my dearest friends, my girls are more than just my girls. They're like my second family. And so I wanted, to give her everything that she wanted and wanted the best. And the one thing that I was like, please just have good weather today. It was 80. It was beautiful. And I kid you not, 45 minutes before the ceremony, it goes from 80 to 32 and it's sleeting. It is freezing cold. And I'm like, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. It's going to pass. It's just a quick little storm.
Yeah.
It literally sleeted the entire night. And I walked into the bridal suite and I said, Alexa, I love you so much. It's your wedding. It's your decision. but this is what's going on. And she said, I don't care. I'm going to get married outside. That
Is
was
this like, is this gravel, grass, dirt? What is the?
It was grass. And so we had all the ceremony chairs, everything ready to go. And she's like, I don't care. Tell the guests to take a seat. Like, I am going to get married outside. And so I had to like have this prep talk with everybody in the wedding party, and I was like, listen guys, it's freezing outside. It's 32 degrees. It's sleeting. I get it. Alexa wants to get married outside. I mean, we had all intention of just like pulling all the chairs that were inside for ceremony, you know, on the dance floor. She was going to get married on the stage, whatever. Like, that was my game plan. If she said, let's move it
You got to have a plan.
You got to have a plan. And she said, nope. So I literally looked at everyone. I said, when you are up there, I know it's cold. Please don't be shivering and have this look on your face. I mean, it's still a wedding. We've got to capture
Photograph.
photos. And her wedding was supposed to be about 15 minutes. And I laugh so hard because, and you can kind of see like in their wedding video, her husband's vows, I kid you not, were probably 25 minutes long. I mean, it was like page after page after page. And it was so sweet, but you can see Alexa like,
wrap it up
because we are all freezing.
Yeah.
And I'm standing back there like shivering like a little chihuahua, but I'm like, I've got to hold it together because I just had a pep talk with them that they needed to hold it together. So I've got to have it together. I know guests weren't really happy, but that's what Alexa wanted. And so my job was to make everything that she wanted for her wedding day happen. So those two instances are like where my PTSD stems from, when brides are like, I want to have an outdoor ceremony. And I'm like,
Yeah. So on the venue side of things, like the final say, like for us anyways, it does come from the client and the planning. And, you know, our property, obviously we can't get it damaged and things like that. But in our venue, we don't even provide outdoor ceremony chairs. We have the gold Chiavari chairs, so we don't put those outside. They'll get stuck in the grass, and they're just so beautiful. They're just made for inside. But outside chairs, you know, you can rent from rental companies, and a lot of the rental companies have like the week before. So 7 days before is your cutoff before you have to pay for them. So our contract just on the venue side aligns with that. We say we need a weather decision if it looks like it's going to rain next Saturday. Like, are we doing it inside or outside? I have a whole team that sets up for the initial setup. So if we're not setting up for reception, then we need to have that setup done. Otherwise, again, it falls on your planner and their team to change things the day of, and they'll have to move everything because my staff doesn't. I don't have staff that stays on the day of to set up and make quick changes. I've totally done it from a planning side, but not as the venue. So you just really want to have those conversations early on. I have some brides that that book at Madewell, and they're like, I fully intend to have a outdoor ceremony. I mean, I've got 400 people. It's going to be so, which, we can do 400 people inside too at Madewell. But, and then just, a month before their wedding, they're like, nah, I don't want to worry about it. I don't want the stress. I love that for them that they make that decision. There's some brides that are just like determined, like Alexa, determined.
I mean, she was determined. And I got that side eye and I got that look when all these guests are huddled in under the porch, and I'm like, the bride has asked that you guys please take a seat because we're starting ceremony and it's not moving. Yeah. So.
And let me tell you things that you can do to prepare. So you've decided we're going to risk it. We are going to move forward on our outdoor ceremony. Let's prep your guest for that and comfortability, right? So this might mean that you are providing fans, water, umbrellas, little things like that. I had a wedding one time. It was the ceremony was under the tent, which was about, maybe like 35, 40 feet away from where everybody came in. So the reception. So they would walk through the reception, get outside for the ceremony, and then we'd come back inside for the dancing and everything. But this planner purchased I don't know, 30 umbrellas, so that just to walk that 30 feet was comfortable for their guest, and had, escorts like to get them to and from that covered ceremony area. And that's a lot of times what happens is you don't plan to have rain on that day. And it's like, you know what? We have to tent that whole area so we can continue to have the outdoor ceremony we want.
It's like if it rains, even if you tent, it's like, West Texas, grass doesn't grow here. We all know.
It's sideways rain. So let's put the walls on the tent too.
Put the walls, block the rain. Yeah. But it's like, it's muddy. It's disgusting. Let me tell you, when I'm working a wedding, I want to look my best. I want to feel my best. Also being professional. And it's like, I'm wearing patent Jimmy Choo shoes. I don't want to step in mud in my Jimmy Choos, and it's like, if I don't, your guests don't want to step in. And 9 times out of 10 people are getting a new dress and new shoes for a wedding, and so it's like nobody wants dirt like built up on the bottom of their heel because they sunk in,
yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of, in my opinion, cons to getting outside. Brides, I love you. If you want to get married outside, we'll make it work. But there's a lot more planning that goes into it. And it's like our wedding 2 weeks ago, we had galvanized buckets with ice and water so that guests could kind of grab and go. And we had fans. And in the moment, it worked. It was still really hot. You could see people. Just the sweat pouring off of everyone. But all the guests were troopers, and I appreciated that. And nobody kind of was like, and we've had guests say stuff to us as to like, why is the ceremony outside? It's 105 degrees or it's 30 degrees outside. Like, it's freezing. And I'm like, per the couple's request, like, this is what they want, and it's their wedding. So
what's your, you as a planner, what is your, because like I said, as a venue, we like to have that conversation a week before. If it's on the forecast, what's our plan? But you as the, have to act fast day of, what is the amount of hours, or is it morning of? Is it how many hours are you having that life or death conversation?
So I would say my life or death conversation is about 5 to 6 hours before. And I know that, for some people that's cutting it really close, but it's like, if you're going to have rain the morning of your wedding from 6 a.m. to 10, and then let it dry up or whatever, and then we can kind of start setting things out. But there's times where I'm like, no, I'm going to make the definitive decision. And it's almost to the point where it's like, no, I'm telling you, we are moving this inside because there's not enough time for the ground to
you're pro,
in.
If it looks like rain, 40% chance, you're pro, let's go ahead and move it inside. Okay.
Because, 5 to 6 hours before your ceremony, that's enough time for me and my team to get chairs back in, to get, the arch or cut down the floral and move it and get a game plan together.
So you're always choose a venue that has an indoor option.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Just checking.
And you know what I mean? Because it's worst case scenario, weather doesn't permit, what is our plan B? Well, our plan B, typically is the dance floor is the open part, so we move all the chairs on top of the dance floor, kind of scoot some tables over, move the arch if they don't have an arch. We have time to run to warehouse and get whatever and do whatever, but if there's a stage or an open area, or we've got to move some things around, line up and then we just have the ceremony inside. But it's
because again, it's not just, is it going to be raining right when I say I do? It's what is the
before,
hour effect of what's happening to the ground and your property and all the things that you have set that's going to affect,
so that's what
ceremony.
Me and the girls, that's our game plan. If we're going to have an outdoor ceremony, the game plan is, if weather does not permit because it's way too cold or it's way too windy or it's pouring down rain or the tornado is coming through, I don't know. We're going to move all the chairs on dance floor, scoot tables, move the arch in, do whatever. But it's we always have that backup plan because here in West Texas, you just don't know.
Yeah. And I want to talk about that too, just weather in general. If you live in Lubbock, the last couple of weeks have been crazy weather, tornadoes, storms, hail the size of softballs. My husband's car got totaled out last week because of weather. So it's a real thing. And I had a wedding last Saturday. And the most important thing as a venue manager and a planner too is that we are providing a safe environment for the guest, and that we have a plan. You definitely want to have this conversation with the venues that you're looking at. What is y'all's emergency plan for extreme weather cases or evac plans and things like that? We do have officers on site to kind of help like any like, calming crowds and just saying encouraging things that will keep people, calm. But we did have to monitor the weather last Saturday. The direction of the storm, that was, not even, I don't know, it was probably like 7 miles, south of us, but, which way was that going to turn? And, like any touchdowns with tornadoes, things like that. But we basically made a call that we were going to assure the guest that they are safe here, that we have plenty of space to put people in areas that don't have windows. And if that needs to happen, we have emergency staff on hand to kind of control that and where to go. So I think having a plan, even if you don't have an outdoor ceremony, just having the conversation of, well, you've got all these windows. What's the plan if we have bad weather in during the reception? Because it did pass and everything was fine and everybody continued to enjoy the night and it was wonderful. But you have to stay calm. And the planner has to stay calm because the client is freaking out. And so let's provide them a secure plan.
This is like so cliche, but it's like we are the calm in the storm.
Yes.
And it's like, just know we have thought about it. We have lived it. We have witnessed it. And it's like we know how to act and how to act fast and get it together. So it's like rely on your planner and rely on venue managers to be the calm in the storm because 9 times out of 10, we've either seen it, done it, heard it, So it's like rely on us because we've got your back.
I agree 100%. And then I've had weddings too where, we have a beautiful setting at Madewell for golden hour photos. It was overcast. It was cloudy. I had a bride reach out to me after her wedding and say, is there any way we can just come grab those photos? Absolutely. Get dressed back up with your husband, put your dress back on, hair and makeup, all of it to capture those photos. Your venue shouldn't be charging for that. That is an accommodation that, part of the reason you booked with us is because you want those beautiful golden hour photos. So let's plan it, to get you out here to take some of those. That was a priority for you. And I want you to have the best, overall experience with us, not just on the day of your wedding, but the whole, the whole thing. So, don't feel like, oh my gosh, it ruined my whole day. We can grab some more photos. We can schedule something. It's not a big deal. So
absolutely. I want to ask you a little would you rather question because I think this would be fun. Would you rather have 20 to 30 miles an hour winds, or would you rather have like 105 degree heat on a wedding day?
That's hard.
Yeah.
Okay, because I think the heat, I hate being hot. I hate being uncomfortable, but I think the heat photograph maybe will be better than wind blowing my girls and me and our hair all over the place,
I would have to agree. I would, and I hate being hot, especially when I'm in an undershirt with a shirt and a jacket and pants and
sweating,
and it's like literally sweating.
Or the groom or the groomsmen, y'all are doing like the cute white button ups with the what are those called suspenders, and it's just sweat in the back.
It's like I would rather deal with heat because like you said in photographs you can't tell that it's hot, but it's like 30-mile-an-hour winds, like your hair's whipping around, guests are uncomfortable. The veil is blowing all over the place. I mean, at that point, just take it out. If you did draping or whatever, things are moving and it's just, it's hard to control and you can see it more prominent in photos than you can if it was just really hot outside.
Yeah. And I've seen weddings where the maid of honor, thinks, I don't know, you tell me how you feel about this, but the maid of honor is like holding down with her foot the veil. So like she's standing on it so it's not blowing all over. Now, is that proper? Like, because she's trying to help her out, I guess, but you've now got, in your photos, you now have Brittany standing on your veil or whatever.
No.
Would you just take it out?
In my mind, it's either like, just lean over and take it out or hold it with your hand, because what's going to happen is like you can get more movement if the bride is moving with your hand so that the veil doesn't look like stretched. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it also kind of just, And not that that is what it should be perceived as, but it kind of looks mean, like you're stepping on her, you know, like it's kind of like stepping on the bride's dress. You don't want to do that. But if the bride moves, you know, in those photos, her veil's going to look stretched. And it's like, also in that same instance, yes, you're stepping on her dress, her veil, but you're not paying attention if she's moving because you're also trying to watch the ceremony and, you know, be present in that moment. So I would say for the bridesmaid or the maid of honor to hold, you know, some of the veil down with her hand, or let's just take the veil out completely.
Yeah, maybe hold it with the hand that's not facing the guest.
Like that's a little more classy and it looks good.
Than stepping on
elegance and poise. Then let's just step on the back of this thing and hold it down. You know, I'm like,
and maybe
at that point, put a sandbag on it.
Maybe have these conversations. You know, with your girls. You're doing an outdoor ceremony. It's 10 miles per hour wind. Hey, if my veil starts to like, could you just hold it like this?
Hold it down a little bit. Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah. I'm like, to me, it's like, just put a sandbag on it. And because I'm, you know, and my thing is like, the one thing you have after your wedding is amazing photos. Yes. And I don't want you to look back at like your maid of honor stepping on your veil or this or that. Or so it's the small details. And it's like, there's ways to do things where it's subtly done and we get why we were doing it, but let's make it look very clean and classy and not like.
What's one thing you wish like all couples knew before booking an outdoor ceremony? Like, because a lot of couples come to you after they've already booked their locations, right? Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should get your planner first.
They really can educate you on where to go. My way, I would prefer, and I really think that, you know, couples need to get a planner first and then kind of assess, because it's like some venues have this huge, beautiful courtyard. Yeah. And then the ceremony or the reception space, not that it's small and it can accommodate, but it's like, in the event that we need a backup plan, like, can realistically we accommodate? Because also, like, we've got to push 30 tables against the wall and try to squeeze 400 guests. And it's like, do we logistically have room for that? Yeah. You know? So it's kind of like consult with your planner or the venue and being like,
what's your weather backup plan?
Like, what is your backup plan? Because, you know, venue owners have probably owned a venue for years. So they know, they've seen, they live, they breathe, and they have that. So I would just say be very strategic.
Yeah. Yeah. I think having that conversation early on where your location is to have that backup plan is so important. I helped with my cousin's wedding. She got married on a beautiful golf course in Ruidosa. Rained. And again, since I was coordinating and I was planning, it's our job to act fast, watch the weather. You know, the rain did, I guess it was a couple hours before everything, but this now meant that me and my team had to wipe down the dance floor, wipe down all the chairs. We couldn't put linens out until complete last minute because we did not want those to get ruined. And it's all those things that, you know, worked out in the end. But this venue that she got married at, it was not a very, if we had to, we would make that ceremony happen in the location. But it wasn't like they had a plan for it. It was something that I was going to have to create to make happen, which put a lot of stress on us. But yeah, you need to have those conversations with your venue, because if their answer is like, you know, don't even.
And it's even just kind of like, be aware of the months that you're trying to plan your wedding. Like, if you're trying to get married December, January, like, no one wants to sit in minus 12 degree weather outside. And it could snow. Plan for the snow.
But we're getting rain and hail all the way in June.
Yeah, so it's just like, and then too, here it's cold till March. I'm always cold, so don't ask me about weather here. But yeah,
we get snow in March here. So
and that's what I'm like, our weather, and I can't speak for everyone else, but I can speak for Lubbock, Texas. It's so bipolar. It's so all over. Like, in the morning it can be snowing, and then 2 hours later it's 80 degrees, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to change from this sweater to a short sleeve shirt, and then it's like downpouring rain on tornado watch, and I'm like, can we just pick one or the other?
I personally got married inside. I was not wanting to mess with
I
all
just
that.
think it's the
And I
smarter
took outdoor
option.
photos.
Yeah.
And the outdoor photos were beautiful. And
to me,
air conditioned and guests were happy. And
to me, an indoor ceremony, it's just the smarter option, especially being in West Texas, because you can't control the weather at all. And then it's like, if it rains, the mosquitoes and the bugs, and there's just a lot of factors that you got to think of what really goes into getting married outside.
do you ever have brides that are like, I really want to get married? Let's say it's at a park and they met at this park. It's special. You've got the permits and all that taken care of. So like that's the plan. There's no outdoor, plan for, or there's no indoor backup plan. Do you have couples that ever try to reserve a backup venue completely?
Yes.
Okay.
So we had a wedding, and this was kind of like early on in my career where that was kind of the plan. So there was, I think it was like family land, and it was literally just a piece of land that had been in the family for generations, and they wanted to do the ceremony because they're like, I guess great grandpa or somebody had built this cross on this land. So that's where kind of everyone had gotten married, and I was like, okay, that's fun and all, but if weather doesn't permit, and so we ended up booking, and it was a small 100-person wedding, so we booked a smaller venue. But
did you do it that week? Like you
we
decide?
kind of did 30 days out, just because the time that they were getting married, it was kind of unpredictable. Of like it was kind of like, I think it was April, early May. So it was like on the cusp of like April showers, spring, May flowers. And so the day before it rained, the day of the wedding, it didn't. But I'm kind of glad that we did, because then we moved everything inside because it was so humid from the rain the day before. But we were able to book, and I had called a couple places and kind of explained that situation. And they were like, just let us know 30 days. If we're not booked, then you guys can have it. And we kind of got a discount because
I love this. I would discount it.
We booked like on short notice, technically. So
if I was available, I would 100% want your phone call that's like, hey, the venue I chose or the park or wherever, it's looks like it's going to rain. Maybe it's a couple weeks before, but are y'all available? Like, it doesn't hurt to check.
Yeah. And have a backup plan. I mean, I would rather have A, B, C, D, E, F, G backup plan than none.
Yeah. And your venue, and the venue that's sitting there, on Saturday that was open and empty, may be like, yeah, I'll take your $500 or $1,000 or whatever for you to have your ceremony here. I don't hate that.
Yeah. It was nice because they gave us a hefty discount because they were like, we're not going to book it. And I had a conversation with a couple, and I was like, hey, they countered with a discount. I think that we should just go ahead and do it. And regardless, we can have reception or whatever. And we did it. And thank God we did, because it was so humid. And I don't think that, and they said we wouldn't have lasted ceremony and reception outside. If you could have any ceremony set up outside, and it's just perfect, the wind is a brisk little breeze, the birds are the sun is just right, like what would your ideal ceremony setup, wedding, outdoor ceremony look like?
Personally, mountains in the background.
Okay.
Me and my husband are big on mountains and hiking and things like that, so it's like, yep, mountains in the background. Do the bird noise a little.
Wait, you're getting married in the mountains. You need like an owl. How to?
Well, we should not be bird callers.
No. I'm gonna stick to my day job.
But I would love that. I think that's very beautiful. And if I was living in Colorado and owned a wedding venue, that would be a big selling feature. I think. I would still have a structure to do it inside as a backup plan. Yeah. But if that background would be beautiful. But I think that I'm more of a person, and I get a lot of brides too that are like this, that it's not worth me stressing about it the week of my wedding, that I need a solid indoor beautiful plan as well. So I would make that decision way before. Yeah, personally. Cool. Do you have anything else about outdoor weddings or events? I think having an outdoor ceremony tent plan is a great idea as well. Absolutely. There are tent companies that do rain reserves. At least in Dallas, they had that.
In Austin,
stuff.
That was one of the things. It was like we need 7-day notice, and
rain reserve tent plan.
We risked it for the biscuit and didn't do that, and I wish we would have. But I mean, the tint that they wanted, it was kind of astronomical what they were asking for because it was a clear tint. It wasn't just your basic little tint. But in a way, I'm glad we didn't, and I wish we, it was just, it was a catch-22. But I mean, I think we've really hit the pros and cons of getting outside. Also, any brides, if you book me and, you want my bird noises, it's available for track. So you just let me know and I will cue the birds as we are sending you down the aisle. Don't you worry. I've got you taken care of. My girls got you covered with the leaf blowers. I mean, we will literally bring
will bring the outside in.
Yeah. I mean, don't you worry because we get it.
Oh, there's beautiful venues too that they might be chapels, but have you seen the ones where the doors they can open, they can enclose so that it's a weather safe chapel as well? That's a great idea.
That's so fitting for Order in the Chapel.
So last week, one of my girls at work, she was like, well, we listened to the episode, but what was the verdict? And I'm like, okay, because we're trying to educate you on like if you want this or not. And like, if you take that route, what's the best way to handle it? But we can recap the verdict of
my verdict is
the verdict of the children at weddings is
no.
The verdict of outdoor ceremonies. Okay, see, my verdict is
it's like
my verdict is different. Mine's softer. Mine's like the verdict of children is yes with a sitter or with a plan, or the outdoor ceremonies. Yes, with an indoor plan.
I would have to agree. Like in my perfect little world up here, it's no. But it's like I'm going to tell you yes, but we just need to make sure that we have covered all of our bases and we have a plan.
Yeah,
it's better be safe than sorry.
But maybe we'll have an episode one day where we do have like it's a hail no, and I'm saying hail because we're having hailstorms up in here.
Yeah,
but yeah, we'll think of one where it's
like don't ask me because I've lived a lot of things, and so I'm like no, we ain't doing that. Nope, I've seen it, done it, heard it, witnessed PTSD from that. And that's when I'm like, I'll bring the birds to you. You want peacocks? I'll learn how to make a peacock sound. I mean, don't you worry. I will get myself educated on all the outdoor sounds.
Perfect. Y'all DM us or email us, orderinthechapel@gmail.com, and send us your weather stories. I don't know. Maybe you got married and you had a solid weather backup plan and everything worked out. Send us pictures. We'd love to see.
Send us a clip of you talking about it. I would love to hear about it.
If your maid of honor stepped on your veil.
Yeah.
To hold it down.
You have that photo.
Let us see it.
To me. I want to see that.
Maybe your photographer could edit that. I don't know if that's it.
I don't know. If you want my bird noises, they're available for $9.99. I can send you a hard copy. Just let me know.
He's upset. You've got him thinking he can be a bird calling man now. Whether planners, I want to hear your stories. I want to hear your weatherproof plans. What did you do? Because that's what we created this podcast for, to share and educate. And I think it's awesome.
I like to hear from other planners, and it's even like this weekend. We had crazy weather. It was so humid on Saturday. Our cake was delayed because the humidity was terrible, and it was just like the icing was sliding off of this cake because it was so hot. I mean, literally the car ride from the bakery to the venue, and they had to like strip it, re-ice it, do all the things. And I kind of heard a couple other stories from weddings that were going on and planners and things like that, and even surrounding areas. I know a lot of people in surrounding areas around this town, so we kind of are all in different group chats, and I was like, oh my gosh, and people were like, oh my gosh, are y'all getting cake today? Because ours either canceled or is delayed because of the humidity. So it's just things like that I like to hear, because let me just tell you, you are not the only one out there that has experienced this or is experiencing things.
And I would even say, I said like check with your venues on what their contract is about weather policy, but check with your photographers. Because if your timeline, you're waiting it out, you're like, okay, well, we're just going to push the ceremony 30 minutes. We're going to push it there 45 minutes, whatever. Make sure that your photographer is going to stay their extra time to get all the coverage, because timeline is a factor too.
And also, speaking of that, because this gives me severe PTSD too, checking with your photographer. So when we spring forward, that's amazing, great, cool. It's light outside till 9:30. But when we spring backwards, because I be forgetting sometimes that the sun goes down.
We don't spring backwards, we fall backwards.
Whatever, it's the same thing. See, it just freaks me out to even talk about it.
Fall
It's like
backwards.
it's
Time
like
change.
dark at 4:00, and then I'm like, so your 6:00 ceremony is not gonna work because it's gonna be pitch black outside.
Yeah.
So we've got to push that up to 3:00, and then it's just a whole thing. So when you get into timelines, and whether you're springing forward or falling back, just make sure, especially if you're falling back, that you schedule ceremony time appropriately, because you could be getting married in the dark if you don't pay attention.
Yeah, you may be doing golden hour photos at
5:15 because it gets dark at 6.
You know what? My wedding was 2 to 7. It was great. Everybody had, we had appetizers and stations and all of that. And then we did a party bus from 9 to 12 with my closest friends. So it was.
Hey, I mean, that's
the party continued. But I didn't have to supply alcohol for 150 people. It was
till midnight. Rocking up that.
So
bar
I'm
tab.
I'm pro daytime weddings.
Yeah, same. I mean, I am too. It's just, there's just, and that's another reason to have indoor ceremony, because if it's dark outside, we can flip the lights on and it's like the sun is shining. Cue the birds, cue the wind, cue it all. But yeah.
And floral, getting the right amount of floral to bring your outdoor elements in is a great idea too, because I've had brides that literally wanted to get married and it looked like a garden. And they spent money on their floral to make that look.
They had money.
He got money. But they made it look absolutely like a garden in there. It was beautiful.
But that's another thing too. Like, you can transform an indoor space into anything. I mean, we've done it several times.
Yeah.
And another thing, speaking of floral, one of our weddings a couple weeks ago, like and I think I talked about this early on in this episode, but like, the floral was fried to a crisp because it was so hot. And even though it was,
and that's just something
minutes,
I wouldn't even think about.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, as somebody, I've done my fair, a lot of weddings, but I'm not somebody that thinks, what is this floral going to look like in an hour?
I mean,
Colby thinks about that stuff.
It was a little wilty. Thank God I had some floral wire so I can kind of wire up these stems and where they not look sad. But like, there's just a lot of things that you really have got to think about when you are planning an outdoor ceremony when it comes to weather, because weather determines everything. So
things to think about. Okay, we will.
Because why?
Because if you know. We will talk to y'all next week and send us all the stuff, because we love it, and get ideas. Tell me what you want to hear on the podcast, and what topics you are curious about or scared to ask, because we will bring it up.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.